Dear viewers, we are glad you are watching us. Welcome back to the Leaders Dialogue. Be sure to hit our Facebook page at Leaders Dialogue. Our Twitter is at Leaders Dialogue Show. Welcome back, Mr. Nganga.
Asante.
Yeah, as young graduates, people leaving colleges, how do they grow their skills and their competence?
I think the first thing is to understand the topic of competence. Yeah. Competence is ability to do something. Mm-hmm. I unfortunately have to prick the balloon of a new graduate. Yeah. He feels he has a degree, so he feels he has achieved. Yeah. Yeah. But if truth be told, he is not skilled. Mm-hmm. You know, experts in competence grade them in four ways. Your initial period is called knowledge. For example, your son, at the age of 5, can even understand how the car moves. Mm-hmm. But of course, the legs are too short. Yeah. He doesn't understand all that is involved. Mm-hmm. So by the time you get a degree, the level is only level 1. It's called knowledge. Where you understand how the bicycle works. Yes. But you can't ride it yourself. No. You understand how the car works. Yeah. But you can't drive it yourself. Yes. So people need to understand that you cannot be given work and be held responsible when you are just straight from campus. Simply because you only have knowledge. Yes. But maybe I should have gone a little earlier and talked about awareness. Awareness is level 1, knowledge is level 2. Awareness is being aware there is a car, being aware there is a bicycle, being aware you make roads. But how they are made, you don't know. Yes. And some of the things you just need to be aware. You don't have to know. But let me admit, a graduate is not just aware. Before he came to campus, he was aware. Yes. There's something called QS. Yes. There was civil engineering. Yeah. But now, after a degree, he has moved from level 1 of awareness to level 2 of knowledge. Yes. Level 3 is called skill level. Here, you not only are aware, not only now do you understand, you can even explain how this thing works. Yes. But now you can make it work yourself. Skill means you can actually practice. If it's a camera, like the one they are using, you know how to operate. You don't just know about cameras. Yes. You have actually taken a video, and we can have seen it. Yes. Then you can say, I'm becoming skilled. Of course, it will take you time to be fully skilled. But the only way to get skills is by work. That's why internship is so important. And I'm happy that the universities, more now than in our days, are really partnering with industry to give opportunities to young people, not just to deal with the laboratory in the university, but to go to a real working place and see how things are done. You know, you can be an accountant. You have done your CPA and finished, but you do not know how to do accounting. It's when you sit in an office and discover a voucher you present somebody. If you sit on my voucher, there will be a quarrel. But that's what you are not taught that in class. No. You know how to balance the accounting. You know the debits and credits. But it's only when you become an accountant you understand it's not just about figures. The figures represent people, and the people get unhappy and get annoyed. So it's important to understand this skill level is a level where you do something over time. And there's no shortcut. You can't know it by reading. You must do it over time. And the more you do, the more proficient you become in it. So we say now you are skilled. Then there is a level 4. Level 4 is called mastery. At the mastery level, you not only know how to do something, you can change it. You can say, why ride the bicycle like this? Let's change this bicycle. And when you move the bike backwards, it should go forwards. Now you are a master. You can design. That's the highest level. And hopefully the people who are trainers should themselves have gone through skill to the level where they can change things. They can reorganize them. Now, can you then see when you are a new graduate, you must understand, you have knowledge, congratulations. You have PhD, Congratulations.
Yes.
But your PhD is not skill. Your PhD is knowledge.
Yeah.
The only way you get skill
Yeah.
is by doing the job yourself.
And very interesting, because one of the reasons the young people don't want to get the skills is the money issue. The money issue. What would be your take on the acquiring skills vis-a-vis the payments?
You know, one of the things, I did my master's after I retired. Elimu ya Gubaru. And it was very difficult in class. As you grow older, it's harder to get knowledge and skills. It's not that it's impossible, it's only harder. So I would advise every young person, his emphasis initially should not be the salary they are getting. It should be, if I work here, what kind of skills will I get? That's why sometimes you may need to go to a smaller place where all your aspects of your skill are going to be, you are going to get opportunity. You can go to a large place where you are told to tie one knot and they never allow you to tie other knots. So you have 9 years of experience in one thing.
One knot. Yeah.
So it's important to understand initially the most important thing in your professional development is not the salary you get. It is the skills, opportunity to practice the things you learned in the university will be important. So when you have job offers, ask yourself, this guy is paying me that 1,000. This one is going to pay me 50. But between them, who will make a better person out of me in 3 years? Please go to the guy, even if he's paying you that 1,000, go to him. Because what will happen is, in those 3 years, you get such expertise and skill. The guy who went to the 50, when there is a job of 70, he is asked, he's come for an interview, and he has just been tying one knot. So they can't give him the job of 70. You'll jump from 30 all the way 70 because you are rounded. You have been tested. So it's important to understand competence. It's a requirement. You know, one of the things that many workers don't, that's why we have productivity issues, is you assume I have competence even when I don't have. It is important to have a system, and I normally consult in performance management, and I tell people it is important to have a performance gap analysis. How do you do performance gap analysis? Number one, look for every job, check the competencies that are there. You know, a lot of organizations will say, has a degree in communication. That's not competence. That's a degree. What is he able to do? So list, for every job, list the one that are there. For example, if somebody is a receptionist, you don't say that he has a certificate in secretarial. You check what do you require at the reception to do well. For example, one thing you require is smiling. But unfortunately, it's not taught in school. And yet, it's a very important competence. Ability to smile at nothing. That means whoever comes, you are smiling. You must create the ambience of the organization that they want the visitor. Now, if you give somebody with a PhD in secretarial services or reception services, but he has no ability to smile, his face is at 6 o'clock, long face all the time. He has no competence. So, but because we do not create jobs into competencies, we are not able to assess. So the first thing is, if for the job, not for the person, for the job, what does it require? What competencies does it require? Like that one you said, the ability to smile. The other thing, that ability to dress well. There are people who are dressing is a punishment. So you don't put somebody like that in your reception. And the fact that they don't dress well does not mean they are not competent. Put them where the skills are required, where they may be in a counter suit all the time, like they are on holiday, but they are working. But at the reception, you don't want to put somebody like that. So you need to write it down. Well dressed, ability to dress well, ability to smile, ability to handle pressure. Because somebody will come and insult them. And they'll say, wait a minute, who are you to insult me? You're not my mother. You'll find people fighting at the reception.
Yes.
So you need, and these are not, some of those things cannot be trained.
No.
They are things that are in your personality.
As a person.
So you need, the first exercise, if you want competence improvement, is to ensure your job's competencies are clearly indicated.
Yeah.
Step number one. Step number two, those competencies must be at different levels.
Yeah.
Smiling level 1, smiling level 2. I guess the person at the reception requires smiling level 4.
Yeah.
The competence in smiling needs to be level 4, where he's a master.
Yes.
But even the CEO needs to smile, but maybe level 2. So you need to put these competences that are required in the job. What level? So it's important. For example, a CEO must know finance. But maybe level 2 is enough.
Yes.
Just a knowledge. But if you are a finance manager,
Yeah.
you require level 4,
Yeah.
a mastery
Yes.
in this one.
Yes.
Then once you have done that, the next thing is to look for the occupant of the job and check, does he have the competencies the job requires? Does he have them at the same level? That's when you go to the third exercise, which shows you the gap. And all of us, without exception, have gaps.
For sure.
So you need to know what are my gaps as my boss, because then you keep helping me in that area.
That's true.
You cannot say, I want to employ people capable. Some of it you have to help develop them.
Yes.
So those are the things the young person needs to understand in order to know what matters initially, especially, is does that organization have competency gap analysis and competence gap closure initiatives?
For sure.
If not, if the only answer they have is to do more CPA,
Yes.
they have no system of helping you to improve in the various areas, then don't go to that place. Go to a place that invests in developing people.
Yes. The issue of integrating our faith in our profession. There's something you mentioned about polish. How do we develop a polish within such a, let's say, commercial industry?
Yeah, you know, your faith and your work are supposed to be integrated. That's what we said in a previous program.
Yes.
That the book of Colossians 3:17 says, whatever you do, do it in his name. When you do it in his name, it means faith is involved. So you must find a way of your faith being seen in your work. Of course, if you're working in a country where to be a Christian is punishable by death, you will not say verbally that you are a Christian. But the way you live your life will cause them to come and ask you privately, hey, how come you're such a good guy? You mean Kenyans are that good? Because they want to find out. Now, privately on one-on-one is when you'll be able to share with them why you do what you do. So when you talk about integrating your faith and your profession, it means allowing them to become one, so that what motivates your technical work is your belief in God. And you are wanting to use your job to bring honor and glory to God. That's what you mean when you're talking about you are integrating the two together.
Yes. I would not like to end the program without mentioning about the Fellowship for Christian Believers. And its praise in helping professionals even have a polish in this industry.
I'm sure you have heard that wherever I go, I try to begin a lunch hour fellowship. I did that in the bank when I was there. I went to Shell BP House. I began a fellowship. After that, I was a Shell manager in Kisumu. I began a fellowship. Now, it is important to have what I'm calling strategic withdrawal. When Christians get together and pray for themselves and for the organization they work for. If you want to do well professionally, you must understand at your place of work is a place of attack. So you need once in a while to withdraw with other Christians so that you can pray for one another. And that way you'll be strengthened to go back and face the lion. Yes.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so much glad that you have watched us in this program, Leaders Dialogue. You can hit our Facebook page at Leaders Dialogue. You can follow our Twitter page at Leaders Dialogue Show, and forward your questions, your comments, your remarks, and you can also write an SMS on the number that is running on the screen. Once again, Mr. John Nganga, we are so much glad to visit you and share to us more about Leaders Dialogue. Thank you for watching. Till next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Keep glowing as a leader. Thank you.
We are the new generation. We are the youth of the nation.